I'm Jackie, the creator and illustrator of Midnight City Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today. So we are switching from doing weekly readings to a reading once a month that takes place when the sun enters a new sign. So we are kicking off with the inaugural reading for Pisces season, which is very near and dear to my heart because my sun sign is in Pisces, and Pisces season is also super special to Midnight City Tarot because this is when I was actually clicking the button to launch the Kickstarter campaign for the Midnight City Tarot deck this time last year, which is so amazing that a year has already gone by, and it's just been so cool to watch the community grow over this past year. It's been awesome, and I've loved seeing the deck make its way all around the world, all over the United States. So I just think it's so amazing how tarot and New York City both connect all of us so deeply. And yeah, it's very cool to get to share my creation with you. So thank you so much for letting me, create it and throw it out there, and for you guys to be there to catch it. So amazing. And yeah, with that, I will get the deck out. This can be purchased at midnightcitytarot.com. And yes, we do ship internationally. So as long as USPS ships there, we can make it happen for you. And let's see, what else do I have in my little tarot pouch, which I should also mention, these are coming back into the shop on February 22nd. So doing another restock of the pouches, they always tend to fly right off the shelves. So definitely set that reminder in your calendar if you're interested in snagging one. I'm going to be releasing them February 22nd at 11:11 a.m. Eastern time. So that's New York City time. And yes, I also have my guidebook, which I'm super proud of and I just love so much. I worked really hard on writing a guidebook that was basically the guidebook I wish I had when I started learning and reading tarot about 10 years ago. And I had my amazing friend Amanda Riley proofread it, edit it, make sure everything was sound, made sense, and was just as good as we could get it. And I had Leland design it, and he's been so integral in getting Midnight City Tarot off the ground with me. So I just want to say a big, huge thank you to both of these amazing people in my life. And yeah, so that's the guidebook. I will give you, here's a little preview. So in case you haven't seen the inside, each page has the card in full color, and then it has the vibe, the general kind of tone of the card. And then we have a description of the art, which tells the story of if you were inside of the cards and in the art and going around and discovering the different cards. So this one we have strength, we're walking up to the New York Public Library, and I also have the locations listed out for all of the cards too. So it really is a journey through New York City. And I also have advice. So when you're doing readings for yourself and you're pulling this and you're okay, but what do I do? There's a little bit of advice for you, and then the reversed meaning of the card too, which I feel is very important. When I started my tarot journey, I was very overwhelmed by reversed cards and what does this mean? And it's really, it doesn't have to be super complicated. So it's nice to at least get you guys started with a little bit of the reverse meanings of these. And yeah, it also covers the box art, because that was really important to me to make this super cool and descriptive and really set the tone for our exploration throughout Midnight City Tarot. So this is a drawing of the first street that I lived on when I moved to the city many years ago. And yeah, the guidebook talks all about that, and it's just super cool to be able to share these so really meaningful stories with you guys. And let's see, I also have 2 postcards. So these come with every order. They are illustrations that I did, and on the back they are actual working postcards. So you can mail these out to your friends, you can keep them, hang them on your wall, which I've seen some people do, which is so cool. So if you do that, tag me in it so I can see, because I love to see the final result of where the postcards are landing. I think that's awesome. Okay, and then I'm going to get to shuffling and we will do our reading. So while I'm shuffling, I'll let you guys know the questions that we'll be asking in our spread today. Oh, and I have to do our candle first. I'm glad I remembered that. So if you want to take a deep breath, we can all do that together. And if you'd like to call in any guides that you work with, I've already done my grounding and my ritual that I do before I do all tarot readings, so I feel ready to go. If you want to do that as well, this is a perfect time to. And I always like to say, may this reading be for the highest and best good of all concerned. So let's get started. Okay, so the City of Dreams reading is here to support us as we create the life that we dream of. And that could mean anything. It could mean many different things for many different people. So whether you're wanting to call in community or new friends or anything like that, if you want to call in a certain quality that you'd like to see more of in the collective, or if you're working on birthing any type of project into this world, this is an awesome spread to help support you in making your dreams come true. And I just think it's a really nice reminder that we can create the things that we want to see in this world. And it's nice to have support of this community and of the tarot as we do so. So our first question will be the general message and overarching theme. And then we ask for what is holding us back. And then our next question is who or what can we call upon for support? And then after that, we uncover any hidden or underlying themes. And our last question is our next steps. What can we do moving forward? Oh, we already have our first card that came out, and I do read jumpers. In the beginning I wasn't going to, but they're just so, I feel like they're really important. So, okay, we have our first card, that's our general message, and this is for Pisces season. And like I said in the beginning, this is a really special time. This is a really special time for myself. It's, I feel really at home in this sign. I'm a very true Pisces. My birthday is coming up in a couple weeks. And yeah, I really feel like that creative, dreamy, intuitive, purple, amethyst, all of those things just really have my heart. And I'm very in touch with my dreams. I get a lot of messages for my dreams. So I'm excited to see what they have to say in this upcoming month, because they always do get really activated and really alive for me during Pisces season. So I'm curious if you guys have that same sensation happen for you too, like during Pisces season. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go through card by card. Already this is very interesting, and I'm laughing because we still have a repeating card. I switched these readings from weekly to monthly because we're getting so many repeating cards, and I'm like, all right, we must just need to be living in that energy a little bit longer, and that's why I wanted to kind of space these out a little bit more, but we're seeing them again, so this is really interesting. Okay, so I'll start at the beginning. We have the general message and overarching theme for Pisces season. The Queen of Cups. How perfect is this? They're literally the Pisces queen. They're holding this beautiful, cup goblet container. It has seahorses on it. It's blue. It's a vessel. It's a gorgeous container of water. And which also I feel like represents this, sign that we're in. The sign above the figure says, welcome to the Mermaid Parade. And if you guys have never been to the Mermaid Parade, I'll tell you a little bit about it because it's one of my favorite things in New York. Every year I would totally look forward to this. It is just a wild and wacky parade / street fair festival where people dress up in the most creative outfits I have ever seen. It's like seeing literal actual mermaids walking through the boardwalk in Coney Island, which is also such an amazing setting for a mermaid parade because you've got the beach in the background and the Coney Island rides and everything. It just feels very surreal and very whimsical, and I've just never seen anything more creative, and I love seeing people's creativity, especially in their self-expression and outfits. That's something that I'll treasure forever, is going to these amazing parades. So around the Queen of Cups, they have these bubbles, which are symbolizing their decorations and their outfit, their way of expressing themselves. It's also, letting us know that they're very in touch with their emotions. They've got this cup that they're holding, and they're just very loving. And we've got the ocean in the background, which also speaks to that just wide, expansive emotional field. And they're seated, they're receptive, like queens traditionally are in the Rider-Waite-Coleman-Smith deck. And yeah, we've got a ton of little like dressed up figures in the background. There's seahorses, there's mermaids, there's jellyfish. This is everything you could imagine from the sea. So yes, we are in Pisces season. Welcome to Pisces season. Okay, this is like the perfect card. And there's also some musical notes floating through the air. It's just like a very light and uplifting vibe. And then for our what is holding us back, we actually have the Magician in this place. And the Magician, they're sitting out on their balcony. They have all the tools that they need to create a spell, to create something that they desire in this world. But in the position of holding us back, this is probably speaking to the more shadow side of this card, which would be using our magic and our creative force for something that's a little more self-centered, or maybe we're, not thinking about the bigger picture and helping other people around us. So it's just kind of like using magic, but for maybe like a lower level type of situation, or maybe not in our highest and best use, something like that. But it's interesting to note, like, we do have the power to create what we want in this world, and we have all of our tools out in front of us. We're able to do it. Like, that's what the Magician is about. It's like alchemizing stuff and putting all these, things from the bodega together and creating something awesome. And it's just like, I totally, looking at this card, like, get into the vibe of the Magician. Like, I can feel like the humidity in the air and sitting out on the balcony after collecting all of these ingredients for the spell and just like getting into it and using it to create what we want to see. So just a note to make sure that it is in alignment with what, is best for us and best for the collective at large. And then who or what can we call upon for support? We have the Eight of Wands, which is like a super fast card. I have all these pigeons flying in a flock, which is a symbol that I see a lot, like just like going around in the world. So I think it's really like, that's one of the things I wanted to create in the tarot deck that I made was, being reminded of the cards when you're like out walking through the city or wherever you are and seeing that flock of birds flying and thinking, oh yeah, that's like a symbol from the Eight of Wands, like this is speaking to me. So anyways, the Eight of Wands, when it is reversed, it is speaking to, a project that's not quite finishing yet. Like they're still going. These birds are not landing. If it was, right side up, we would see them all flying in this direction where they're all going to land and culminate, the project will be done. And it's Wands, so usually it is speaking to like a passion, a project, something like that. But since they are kind of like flying like up into the corner, I think to me this is just meaning like we've got that stamina that we can call upon and this like long-term endurance. That's like the word that I'm hearing right now, to keep us going and keep that fire lit within us. So definitely calling on the element of fire, because Wands relates to fire. So if you like working with that element in any specific way, obviously I love working with candle magic, and this is so funny, of course, I'm looking at the card, the Magician, next to my candle and remembering like this is literally the candle that's in the deck, which is really cool also when, like I said, when you start to see the scenes and vignettes from the cards in real life. I love that as just a way of like connecting the magic of the tarot with the magic of your daily life. So anyways, yes, I think that this is just speaking to having that endurance to keep going and working with that element of fire if you're into candle magic or anything like that, just to keep that like passion lit and just keep yourself feeling excited about what you're working on, because it is important to have that drive. Like that is really what it's speaking to. It's like having that drive, having that, fire within you to keep going. And it is a flock of birds too, which I do want to, just call that out and say like we're flying together with others. So that's a good thing to remember. We're in our little community, our little flock of birds. So it's a good idea to call in friends and just other people who are also working on big things like you. So it always makes you feel better to have that type of support. And then our underlying theme, which this is one of the most interesting to uncover every time. Our underlying theme, we have this star. So in this card, we've walked out up onto a rooftop, and it's above all the noise, all the hustle and bustle, all of the lights and the craziness and the yelling and whatever's happening at midnight on the city streets below us. We've made it up to the top. We're kind of rising above it, and we are laying down on the top of this rooftop and looking up. And when we look up, we see this gorgeous giant star shining down upon us. And it's this moment of relief. It's like finally for a second, we get that like respite and that breath. Like we can take a pause and take a breath after all the chaos, after all of the confusion and hardship. This is a moment where we're just taking a break, relaxing, looking up. We know that there's still a lot more like difficulty ahead of us. There's always going to be, but in this moment we feel peace. And that is really what this card is about to me. It's about connecting with the cosmos and feeling that sense of peace, like underlying everything, which is so interesting. It's our underlying message and hidden theme. But I've been doing this a lot lately. I think Lindsay Mann, and I'll link to her in the description down below, she mentioned in one of her Akashic Records readings, I believe this was in the fall, it was so beautiful, but she painted this amazing picture of sitting outside and looking up at the stars and connecting to, I think she called them the sky gods, and like praying up to the stars basically for whatever we needed. And that's been a practice that I've implemented and I do almost every night, and I've seen some amazing shifts happen from that. So I also think that this speaks to bringing in some practice of connecting with the cosmos. I mean, it is the star after all, right? Like we are looking up at the sky, and I think that this is a card that we can really embody. And just like I was talking about, like with the magician and having the same candle and the pigeons and seeing the flock of birds and being reminded of that, we can really cultivate this scene if we're able to go outside or even peek our head out of a window at night when the sky is dark, and we can look up at the stars and pray to whoever we pray to, or speak to whoever we want to speak to that's out in the cosmos that might be listening back at us and able to help us. And I think some really powerful things can happen when we start, asking for help like that. And it is also just like that quiet, like void moment of that blackness in the sky. Of course, we have this beautiful star of hope, of like resilience, and just like that pause lighting it up. But it really is like that moment of like peace and quiet and void. Like that's really what I'm getting from this, and beautiful things can be created from that. So definitely a card that I love to see, and I'm really, this is really cool and interesting, and I'm glad that my little practice is, it's panning out. And I was thinking about it this morning, like how much it's been working for me. So it's really cool to get to share that with you guys. And I want to thank Lindsay for, suggesting that practice. It's been really amazing. And okay, we have our next steps, which is the card that I always get. I think we've gotten this in like almost all of our past like readings. Okay, so for our next steps, we have the 9 of Cups. And if you guys have been watching these, you know that this takes place in an herbalist shop. It's called Flower Power. It's in the East Village in Manhattan, and it's amazing. And I highly recommend you guys checking it out if you're in the city or visiting the city at any time. It's super cute. There's all of these beautiful shelves with jars of herbs, and it's just so healing in this space. I can't even put it into words. Like, it was totally felt like a fated event when I went to this shop for the first time, and they have this ladder that you can, use if there's like herbs on a higher shelf that you need to get to, and it just gives me like very whimsical, like Beauty and the Beast vibes, which is really cool. And in this card, we're reaching out and grabbing onto our dreams. Like all of our wishes are granted, they're right here at our fingertips ready for us to grab. But something makes us feel like maybe we're not fully stepping into this next like level of our life, and maybe we're not feeling like we're worthy of capturing our dreams and reaching out and bringing them into reality. But it is good to remember that we are, like, we're here in this beautiful fated, amazing place, and we are worthy of our dreams. And when we, cultivate the things that we desire in the world, like especially I'm looking at the card right now, and each jar is labeled something different. So we have peace, prosperity, love. Love is the one that's really jumping out to me right now. But when we cultivate that in the world, like that's really helping not only ourselves, but the people around us, and it's rippling out and benefiting the collective at large. So definitely know that when you're pursuing the things that light you up inside, that it's helping other people too. And yeah, it's for a reason, especially when those qualities are super in alignment, which brings us back to the Magician, just making sure that our dreams are in alignment with the greater good, with the collective, and then you can, really full force fly on towards creating those beautiful dreams and making those things happen, because you are benefiting, not just yourself, but the collective at large, and it's really awesome. And yeah, let me see if there's anything else I want to say about the Nine of Cups. There's a million things, and I do want to point out that this is another Cups card. So we have 2 cups for Pisces season, which of course cups are vessels representing water, and Pisces is a water sign, so very interesting that came up too. And okay, let me see, what else did I write? For the reverse meaning, perhaps your wishes are not bringing you the same fulfillment that you expected. Reimagine what success looks like. So that's another important point too that we can consider, is making sure not only that our dreams are in alignment with ourselves, our heart, and the greater good of the collective, but making sure that we are finding fulfillment in our dreams that are coming true. And it's, an easy way to make sure that things don't feel hollow is if we're still making sure to give ourselves a big hug or a pat on the back that like you've succeeded, you've made these things happen, things that you probably didn't even realize that you could do, or you doubted yourself, and now you're here, which is making me think of the fact that, yeah, this time last year, Midnight City Tarot was literally just one prototype deck, which is pretty wild now that there's been so many out into the world. And yeah, just the fact that this is like sitting in front of me in its final form, it's pretty awesome. And it's easy to kind of get lost and caught up in just, making it to the next step and the next step, which like making it up each rung of the ladder, and forgetting, like looking down and going, oh my gosh, I've climbed so far, like I've come so far, we've made all these amazing things happen. So definitely a good practice that's coming to mind right now is like a gratitude practice of writing down the things that you're grateful for. And I also love a little time travel, and I'll explain what I mean by that. I like speaking to my past self and my future self. So going, into like a meditation or into like a journaling quiet space and writing a letter or saying words to my past self. Like for example, if I wanted to, just make sure to remind my past self or let my past self know like it's all working out. Like when you click that Kickstarter button, it's gonna go, like you're gonna get funded, because I was really not sure how this would all pan out, and it was so cool. My deck got funded in a week, and it far exceeded its goal. So that it's easy to lose sight of now, and I'm like, okay, now I have new things that I want to see for Midnight City Tarot. There's so many other ways that I want to see it get out into the world, but I do want to make sure that I'm appreciating how far that I've come already. And I do want to say, one of the main things, like when I was creating this, was if one person finds this deck valuable, all of the hard work, all of the sacrifice of drawing and creating this and waking up super early as I'm, working a full-time job, working overtime at that job, and then also working on this, like it was extremely taxing, but I knew, I was like, if this helps one person, it was so worth it. And it makes my heart like burst open to think of how many cool messages and supportive messages I've gotten from people saying that, they love the deck, it's helped them, and they're on, a new adventure or a new journey. Because I really feel like that is what the deck is, here to help with when you're starting a new path. And they've found it really helpful, and it's been amazing. And I've also connected with so many amazing people because of creating this. And I think that's something else to keep in mind too, if you're ever doubting yourself about bringing a project into the world. Like, you know, it's easy to think, well, why should I make this? There's already so many of them, you know, but the way that you express and the way that you do something is very uniquely you, and it's needed in this world. And it's important to remember, like, as long as you're in alignment with creating that thing that's uniquely yours, definitely full force ahead, and it will help other people. And not only will it help other people, but it will help you find the people that resonate with you and your essence. Like, you're putting yourself out there so that other people can find you. And yeah, it's been really cool to be able to do that, because there were a lot of moments when I was creating this thinking, like, you know, why? Like, so many days in my journal I would write, why? Like, why am I doing this? What if it doesn't, you know, work out? Like, there were so many doubts that came through my mind, and it's really cool to think back now and like realize like how many people I've met and how many people that have loved the deck and, you know, get a lot of joy from it. And it makes it all so worth it. So definitely, this is a huge message to keep pursuing your dreams. Keep working on that project that just lights you up inside. Like, there's a reason for that, a reason why it lights you up inside. And definitely, if you can make it uniquely yours and in your perspective in a way that no one else could do it, because it is you, go for it. Go full speed ahead, and yeah, keep that fire lit, make it happen. And I'm excited to know and see what you guys are working on. And if you are looking for a little bit of support, let us know in the comments below and we will cheer you on. So thank you guys so much. This has been incredible. I really appreciate you being here, and I will be back with the next reading for Aries season in about a month. So I'll see you then. Take care. Happy Pisces season. Bye.